Carpoolers, welcome to another episode of Carpool. Each week I give someone interesting a lift and we have a little chat. And this week, I really am giving someone a lift. This is Graham Fellows, I've been aware of his work for a long time and I've never met him. British popsters may well remember, British popsters of a certain age may well remember Jilted John, which is a fantastic song, I guess in the late 70s, part of the punk revolution, which was one of Graham's creations. And another one, of course, is John Shuttleworth, who has made me chuckle for many, many years. So please welcome into the car today, Graham Fellows. Hiya. Do you just want to shove that on the back seat? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Has the interview begun?
Yeah, well, the cameras are on.
So I like things to be, spontaneous.
Yeah, it's all very spontaneous.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. It's very nice to meet you anyway.
And you, Robert.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Or is it Bob?
Well, whatever. No, Robert, generally, I suppose. But Bob's all right, I don't mind. Yeah, whatever.
I better strap in.
Oh, yeah, we better have, yeah.
I'm in the toilet, but I don't suppose there's time.
Well, I do too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know of one?
There's one in the garden centre here. We could nip in and pretend.
Let's go to the gardens.
That we're going to buy some seeds.
Carpoolers, this is what we do. We need to have a wee. So is that there, the garden centre?
Yeah, just coming in.
Fantastic, I love going into garden centres. I might buy a pot plant.
You and John Shuttleworth. He likes them.
Does he?
Yeah.
Right, we're going to have a wee.
Be back in a minute.
Yeah.
What we were just saying,
anyway, yes.
before Robert did that, was because he was concentrating on switching the cameras on,
yeah.
and I was trying to make him talk, and I said, it is a good idea to concentrate, because once I wasn't concentrating, I was talking while I was plugging in a hard drive, and I inadvertently plugged in the lead from my laptop,
right,
which was, of course, was a different power, into my hard drive. There's a bit of a bang and a nasty smell, and I lost 3 months' work.
Oh God, what a pain!
Yeah, it's all a bit scary. I did a radio show once, and I did loads. It was with the late Richard Whiteley, and I recorded all his bits, and I was editing them at home and adding new bits and stuff. And I did about 6 hours work, and my Porter Studio didn't have auto save, and I got so wrapped up I wasn't saving.
Yeah.
And then I went. It was like lunchtime, and I sort of went closed down without saving. And I wept.
No,
like a baby. It was awful.
Yeah. No.
To the left, look, this my letters. I put those up.
Oh, did you?
Alexandra Park Library.
You put the letters up on the front?
Yeah. I was unemployed.
Wow.
This is about 86, 87. I was unemployed and a little bit depressed.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can understand that.
And
they gave you a job?
No. I did off my own bat. I just sort of because it just had the Y of library. And the CH of branch, it just said branch library, and I thought it would be better if it had new letters saying Alexandra Park Library. Right. Bit of a weird thing to do, isn't it? But anyway, I went to an iron.
You've got nothing else to do. You can.
Yeah, but I paid for it all myself, and hired a hammer drill. And I think I knew the librarian, and he said, "Oh, just do it, it'll be all right."
Right.
So one Saturday morning, I popped them up. Though I think by this time the library knew, and they said they started to get sponsors for each letter. Right. So in the end, it was paid for.
Right.
In fact, I think I was about £5 up.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm very proud of that, and I'm glad to see they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not that technological. But I remember when I was about 13, I had a paper round, and I remember Saturday mornings I'd get my money, 80p, I think it was. Yes. This would be the early 70s, and I'd buy a quarter of Nuttall's Mintos. Yeah. And how it works, incidentally enough, I was subscribing to that, though I never read it. I just collected 98 episodes of how it worked.
You didn't read it?
No, I didn't. But and then I would go back home and get this old Grundig tape recorder that my grandfather had given me, and I would just muck around with the reel-to-reel tapes. And I was fascinated by the half-speed function, or recording at one speed, 7.5 inches per second, and speeding up to 15 inches per second. No, actually it was 3 3/4, then speeding up to 7.5. Right. And I'd do a passable impersonation of a baby. Right. Crying. So I'd sort of go,
and then just
straight on.
Yeah.
And then if you play that back at double the speed, it sounds just like a baby.
Wow.
I used to do a motorbike as well in a car.
Right.
I won't do those, but I used to do little plays and.
Yeah.
But I think that just became an obsession, you know, for a while, and yeah, it set me in pretty good stead. And I got when I was at drama college, I recorded this song, Jilted John.
Yes,
which,
yeah.
Did you buy it?
I wonder if I did.
I've been going out with a girl, her name is Julie, but last night she said to me when we were watching telly. This is what she said. She said, listen John, I love you, but there's this bloke I fancy. I don't want to two-time you, so it's the end for you and me. Who's this bloke, I asked her. Gordon, she replied.
You know, I sort of became a musician by default, having written this song with no musical knowledge at all, which doesn't show, of course, in the song. But I was sort of hooked on songwriting, and I bought one of the, in fact, I think the very first Porter studio on the market,
Right.
the TIAC 144, where you could record 4 tracks on a little
Yes,
cassette
I remember
tape.
seeing. I remember seeing those. Yes.
Fantastic, and
Yeah.
you could get really inventive with those. I mean, I remember spending days recording songs with and multi-tracking and bouncing down and getting 16 tracks
Right.
on one little
On one little cassette.
yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Which they played it twice the speed, but
Right.
and the quality could be pretty good. Take my coat off.
Oh
It's
yes, no,
quite
yes,
warm.
yes, we certainly can. Yeah.
Because I'm a hard northerner and you're
Of course,
a
I'm
southern
an absolute
softy.
Southern softy. I can't take the cold.
Well, I'm a bit overdressed.
You know, I knew that you'd done Jilted John and John Shuttleworth. That was kind of that's the full extent of my research before we met.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, that's quite a big jump. And I don't know where, because you were born and raised in Sheffield. That's where you're from.
Yes, I was.
Right, and so did you do Jilted John when you still lived in Sheffield? Was that?
No,
Right.
I did that in my first term of drama school in Manchester. I went to the Manchester Poly School
Right.
of Theatre, which is quite, it's not called that anymore, but some good people have gone there,
Yeah.
like Richard Griffiths and
Right.
Julie Walters, and more recently Steve Coogan.
Wow.
So I was there from 77 to 80, and my very first term, it was a bit of a sort of shambolic canteen, and there'd be a few guitars sitting around, and I
Right.
remember picking up this guitar, and someone taught me how to tune it into a chord, so you could just put your finger across any fret and you
Right.
would get a different major
I see,
chord.
I see,
And so
yeah.
I just sort of went hitting the open strings, and then put my finger across the 5th fret,
Right.
and came up with this quite catchy riff.
Right. But that must have been an extraordinary time, though, to be a first-year student and suddenly have a hit record. You know, it doesn't happen a lot.
No.
It-
Well, it was, but it kind of threw my career off course completely, because I was training to be a classical actor, like
Yeah.
one of your recent guests, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And you know, if I had been, I'd be dropping Shakespeare references as often as he was.
Yes.
But I wasn't. I mean, what happened was I went back to drama school after a weird summer of being on Top of the Pops 3 times and
Wow.
forgetting my words at least once. Because it was live then. It was an MU, Musicians Union rule that you had to re-record the track and sing live. And I was
Right.
actually on a youth camp when the recording happened. And I'd paid for the holiday, I wasn't going to miss it. So
Yeah.
you had to do the re-recording, and then you could mime. But because I wasn't available to do the vocal, I had to sing live.
Right.
Which I suppose looks quite impressive, but if you forget the words...
If you forget the words, it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so I sort of went, Ash needs a slag, and needs a creed. And I thought, I'm so upset. You know, I kind of missed a little chunk out, but I think only my sister noticed.
Right. So what age were you then? So you were you still a teenager, or were you?
I was a teenager, I was
Yeah.
only just 19.
Wow.
And as I say, I went back to drama school, and but I wasn't really happy being back at drama school. I missed the adrenaline of sort of hanging out with
Just think, oh, no, I
Jimmy
won't go that way.
Percy.
Right.
being snogged by Debbie Harry.
God, did you really?
Yeah, well, no, it was just a setup for some photos.
Right.
You know, John isn't jilted anymore.
Right. Oh yes.
She just pecked me on the cheek.
Right.
But I went back and I think the first thing we did on the second year of the drama course was like a Greek tragedy where you had to make your own mask out of papier-mâché and stand around for hours. And I got a warning letter for being late.
Wow.
And also, as I say, my interest in sort of classical theatre was kind of, and acting in general was at that point confused, because I learned how to play the guitar properly and was writing songs all the time. I should have been learning my lines. It's really, I think I was kind of confused about my direction professionally until about 85.
Right.
Because I'd been mixing acting and music. I had a couple of deals with music publishers as a songwriter, but I only got paid advances, small advances. I never had any songs published. I tried a little bit of gigging as myself with a guitar, but that wasn't really working. I didn't sort of have an image. So I came up with John Shuttleworth, which I suppose was this perfect marriage of music and acting. So, and that happened by accident. Someone played me a demo tape. Well, a few demo tapes actually at the music publishers, Chapel Music, and they were so bad and funny. These are like people like John Shuttleworth who was sort of recording at home, and you could hear like the wife washing up in the background or something. And they'd have these sort of personal messages pleading to be accepted, but then being quite modest as well, and saying maybe some of the words will have to be changed, but that's all right. You know? And I just thought there's something wonderfully human about them, and as well as funny. And I just did my own version to fool the music publisher. So I sent in this tape as John Shuttleworth. Right. And yes, my new career was born. Wow. Robert, you know.
Here he is, the man himself, John Shuttleworth!
Hey, what's up, sir? Oh, it's early. Yeah, here we go. This was originally about shepherd's pie. Okay. But I've changed the lyrics to something more festive.
Beautiful.
Right, here we go. My wife Mary made a lovely turkey roast and peas with carrots and gravy. Oh, and cabbage as an additional green. Yes, it was. I invented Ken as well, who's his agent. He's useless next door neighbour and sole agent.
His agent?
Sole agent.
Sole agent, beg your pardon.
Where's my water?
Have you got your water?
Well, I noticed Patrick Stewart had a bottle of water.
That's true.
Which he took surreptitious sips from. It doesn't look quite right, Patrick Stewart drinking from a bottle of water.
No, it's kind of wrong, isn't it? Yeah.
Should have been like a goblet.
The only time I've spent in Sheffield was at the Crucible. I did a play at the Sheffield Crucible as an actor.
Which
believe
one?
it or not. It was called The True Story of the Titanic, 1987. 1987. Directed by Stephen Daldry, who just never went on to do much.
Wasn't he a film director?
Yeah, he's incredibly successful now.
Yeah, of course.
Strangely enough, he hasn't been offering me gigs.
Right.
He's a nice bloke. I mean, I knew him before, and that's just why I did it. I wasn't particularly good in it. It was proper actors in it. But I was in digs in Sheffield, and I just didn't know, that I got just a taste of Sheffield life. I really loved it. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, and felt very, very at home there, and really kind of, just the buildings and the fabric of the sort of town. I just liked something about it. I don't know what it was.
See, a lot of people don't like the buildings and the fabric of Sheffield, including myself. Well, you see, it was bombed very heavily by the Germans.
Oh, right.
So a lot of it had to be rebuilt.
Right. Because I suppose I probably was in quite a nice old house in some, and I can't remember now the names of the districts, but
Broomhill? Aincliffe?
No.
Rammore?
No.
I mean, there's a very nice side, but there's quite a horrible.
Right.
I mean, I think
there's that huge house, that really big sort of block of 60s.
Yeah.
Flats. I can remember seeing.
Is that Hyde Park flats? The
they're up on a
streets
hill,
in the sky.
Yeah, huge things in there.
Yeah. I've got a very ambivalent relationship with Sheffield.
Right.
I mean, because I love going back there. Some of my family, my father, my sister's still there, and and I love playing. I played the Crucible.
Right.
On my own though, Robert, you know,
Right, yeah.
don't need a cast.
You did much better.
And I think it was partly kind of a nostalgic yearning for my childhood in Sheffield that made me want to continue with John.
Yeah.
And I used to go on bike rides up to the west side, out of Sheffield, to places like Baslow and Lady Bower Dam. And,
yes, I know, I've been there. Yeah, they're beautiful. It's so stunning. Right?
Do you go there to check the level?
No.
Don't you?
Oh, is that what you do?
Well, I don't, but that's what John Shuttleworth does. And
what, the level of the
yes,
reservoir?
Because it varies, Robert, you know, each day. A slight difference. Never the same in 2 days. But it's set in a kind of slightly romanticised view of the world, which for me is my kind of based on those teenage bike rides in Derbyshire, really.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of the side of Sheffield that John celebrates.
Yes.
And garden centres, of course.
Right.
Where we've just been.
Yeah, we have.
And I noticed Robert went first, and you flushed the toilet.
Yeah, yeah. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Ah.
And if I'd gone first, you'd have noticed.
Ah.
It's just
We have this discussion at home quite a lot about toilet flushing, because I'm a bit of a flusher.
Well, why? I mean, if you've had a little bit of a sit down, I understand it. But if you
So you don't. So that's because you get a lot of backing in my family. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think for the next person coming, to find a.
What about the next generation coming, Robert?
But all right, if we lived in Darfur and we had a flushing toilet, you got a good point, because it's very short, but we've got quite a lot of water in this country.
If you put all the water in the world
Yeah.
in a big tank, it would only measure 90 miles in any direction.
Well,
Not much water.
No, it's not that
all
much,
the drinking water in the world.
I'm
And it's probably
worry
shrinking. I think it is shrinking. I mean, there's always the same amount of water in the world, but we squander it.
Yeah.
So there isn't. And I just think, you know, when I was a kid, I used to think somehow that water coming into the cistern and you flush was not drinking water. I think it somehow came from a dirtier source.
Which it bloody well should do. It is ridiculous.
Red light,
right. Yeah, thank you. Those points are always handy.
It's fresh drinking water, and we flush it away all the time because we're trying to be polite.
Yeah.
And it is embarrassing if you go to someone's house and you don't flush the toilet.
Yes.
And that's why I don't get asked back very often.
Right.
You know, because it just really hurts me to flush.
But if you came to my house, you would have no embarrassment at all, and no one would notice, because no one else flushes either. I'm the only one.
You would, Robert.
I'd storm around the house in quite a bad temper, for just multi-flushing.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised because you're driving this electric car.
I know.
That presumably are quite green. You need to think again.
I do. Yeah, you're right. No, you've got me there. I'm banged to rights. There's no denying it. Oh, look at this multiple traffic
crazy
situation. Oh, I'm glad I wasn't involved in that.
Get into the area where we might start to see a gee whiz or two.
Yes, there are a few, and that's what you've got. You've got a gee whiz. Brilliant. Because there's always a lot of criticism of gee whizzes, and they've grown on me enormously, and I've been defending them. And it's amazing what happens if you try and defend a gee whiz. People really,
especially to Jeremy Clarkson. I'm hoping to get him in one, actually, in my car.
Right.
And I might need to borrow your cameras.
Yeah.
Because I've got this idea to take my gee whiz from where it is now languishing in this Harley Street car park.
Very posh.
Yeah, incredibly cheap. It's £200 for a year. You get a 95% discount.
Wow.
It would be £4,000 to store your car for the year.
Because it's an electric car.
Because it's an electric car, you get this huge discount. Now, I bought it about a month before I suddenly left London. So I told you I was split with my partner.
Yeah.
Moved down to London, had a new relationship here and a new life, and then we got back together. And I went back up north, up to Lincolnshire, and we split up again recently. But anyway,
sorry, I shouldn't be laughing because it's not funny, but it's just.
It isn't to me.
It's just but it's Sod's Law writ large. Isn't it? It just is. Oh.
Actually, one of the fun things in watching your carpools is to work out, especially in London, whereabouts you are.
Right.
And in case anyone doesn't know, we're in Camden.
We're in Camden at the moment. There's someone crossing the road, not quite sure if yeah, we're going underneath the railway bridge by Camden Road tube station.
Yeah, but anyway, I've got this weird situation in that I bought this electric car to be green, to drive it around London.
Yeah.
I no longer live in London, but as you probably know, you have to charge these batteries up every week.
Yeah.
At least, otherwise they die on you and you've lost £2,000 or whatever they cost. very expensive
I
batteries.
didn't know that actually. That's a good.
Yeah,
point,
yeah. So I've got a friend who has agreed to charge it up every week.
Right.
And you have to move it off the parking spot, reverse it into the charging bay.
Right.
And you can put it there for 4 hours, and then you have to move it off again. The
Right.
problem is Kevin can't drive.
Right.
So I gave him a little driving lesson. I said it's just like driving a Dodgem,
Yeah.
Kevin. And I don't think he does the Dodgems either.
Right.
So he didn't crash it, but he's got it now. But
Right.
anyways, he can't do it very often, and so basically I have to come down perhaps once a fortnight
Right. Just to move it and charge
in
it.
my car, you know,
Right.
my
Your petrol car.
well, diesel-driven car.
Yeah.
I try and get the coach sometimes or the train, but if I'm doing some recording, something I have to bring all
Yeah.
the gear. And then to charge up this electric car. So the irony of that is not been lost on me. It's not
fabulous.
right. So I've got.
Well, then do you use the electric car when you're in London? Like tomorrow, will you drive in it somewhere?
No. I probably won't because, well, do you know what I'll do? I'll probably give it a little circuit. I might go up to
Right.
Regent's Park and back. But, I mean, they are too small. You can't really get
You can't
anything
get
in.
much kit in it,
No,
surely, if you've got to
it's
move
small.
stuff. Yeah.
And I'm like that.
Yeah.
there's
Oh, you?
rooms
They're
like
that small, right? Right.
Um,
yeah. I've never been in. I've never been in one. I've
Well,
not been in one.
We could.
We could maybe re-rig.
But anyway, my plan is to take the electric car up to Orkney
Right.
whilst I'm filming, making a film.
Yeah.
And this is the real reason I'm doing this interview, so I can study the cameras
Yes.
and the technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I want to do a similar kind of thing, but because up in Orkney I've got this old church
Right.
where I'm planning to build an eco-friendly recording studio.
Right.
I might get you in to do the plumbing,
Very.
or not.
I would have a plumber on standby. So to get up there,
It's going
it
to
would
take
take a
weeks.
long time.
But I thought I could stop every sort of 30 miles
Yeah.
and find a member of the public
Yeah.
and ask them if they'd give me a plug into the.
But it also,
socket.
how much does it cost to charge it? It's 50p.
It's
60p,
50p. That's what they say. Yeah, it's incredible.
It is very little.
So if they were just a bit bigger, I mean, they're reasonably cheap. They're only about £5,000.
Right.
So 6 or 7 brand new. I mean, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I got a few questions on Twitter, but
Difficult
was
to
Jilted
answer.
John based on truth or just an allegory for how there's always going to be a Gordon? I quite like that one.
Well, I did fancy a girl called Julie when I was about 5.
Right.
Apart from that, it was all made up.
Yeah.
So that's one question. Do you want to ask another one?
Yeah. Now, what is the thing about the recording an entire radio series in a cupboard?
In a in a
Or was
hotel
it-
wardrobe.
A hotel wardrobe. In a hotel wardrobe.
Well, I was doing it was the series The Shuttleworths,
Right.
and I've actually got a new series coming up. I'm about to start on, which will be on Radio 4 in May.
excellent. Oh, brilliant. I do love,
Um,
I love John Shuttleworth on the radio. That's very...
Yeah,
See,
well-
it's very warming for me. I'm often washing up or sweeping the floor in the kitchen or something, and John Shuttleworth's on and all.
Yeah, it's a can be quite a personal experience, I think. 'cause I mean,
Yeah.
it's made on headphones with a single mic.
Wow.
The first series I did was in a shed in Muswell Hill because I just lived in a 1-bedroom flat.
Right. Because how many series have you done? I mean, you've been doing it quite a long time now, surely.
Well, I've done a few. I've done 4 of the Shuttleworths. I've done
Right.
2 of Radio Shuttleworth,
Right.
which is with different guests.
Right.
And John Shuttleworth opened mine, and I did one for Radio 1 years ago. But no, so this will be the 5th. But the lovely thing about radio is you can, of course, it's such a versatile medium. You
Yeah.
can record anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've recorded on my knees between 2 single beds,
Wow.
just to get the dead sound.
Right.
And I've recorded in a shed, and yeah, I was doing a kids' TV series for BBC, and I was in a hotel in Elstree, near Elstree, and I had to do my radio show at night. And originally I was going to try and get a room in the studios,
Right.
but I suddenly realised I had this huge wardrobe, which if I opened the doors, put a couple of duvets on a duvet on
Right.
each door. And sort of sat right inside.
Yeah.
And it was right by the A1, but it was triple
Right.
glazing.
Right.
So it was really quiet, and the sound was dead. And
Yeah.
each night at about 9
That's
p.m.
fantastic.
I just started recording till about 2, and it was one of the series 4, and one of my favourite. So it's fun to muck about,
Yeah.
which is all I do really with my radio, and now with films, because as I say, I've done 2 films. I did It's Nice Up North, which was a quest. It's a mockumentary,
Right.
if you like, for John Shuttleworth to go further and further north and see if people get nicer.
Right.
Because I went to Shetland, I did a gig there, and that was my observation. As I
Right.
went further north, that people got nicer and
They
nicer.
were nice up there.
And of course, people are nicer,
Yeah.
aren't they, Robert?
Yeah, they are. They're lovely. in the
Yeah.
north. Yeah.
So I did that one, then I did Southern Softers,
Right.
which is to see if people get softer in the south. And that quest was a bit even more silly than the first
Right.
one, because no one really had an answer. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, what does soft mean?
Yes.
So the quest kind of died on its arse.
Right.
But that didn't matter because
Yeah.
I used that, and that's what I was saying earlier. I quite like films. I always ask the camera person to press record before they're ready,
Right.
because you never know what you're going to
No,
use. You might
yeah.
get a nice shot of a leg.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or- I mean, it's nice up north. Martin Parr, you know, the still photographer.
I don't.
Oh, do I?
No, maybe.
He hasn't got a shop, so he can't be that good.
Yeah.
Doesn't do weddings.
Does he not do?
But anyway, he filmed It's Nice Up North, and he couldn't get to grips with the camera, and he left it running sometimes on the back seat of John's Austin Ambassador.
Right.
So-
I love the Austin Ambassador.
And
So this is Holly now. Shall I go?
oh
left
yeah, we
here?
better, haven't we?
Yeah.
And sometimes, but yeah, so there'd be a nice little close-up of the fabric of the seat.
Right.
Now, most editors would get rid of that.
Yeah.
But John, of course, we used that because
Right.
it's,
Well, it shows the fabric. It's quality cloth.
you've got it. In Southern Softers, there's a shot of an empty road for about 2 minutes because the walkie-talkies weren't working. And I didn't hear them to come. But it's in the film because, as John says, it looks very restful. Seeing an empty road. Quite relaxing. And then, of course, the car comes into shot and he runs out of tape.
Oh, wow, I never knew this was here. That is so posh. Harley Street car park.
So I'm going
Full
to
of doctors'
charge
cars.
my car.
Ah.
I shall go away and look at find an electrical shop and look at high-end
Right.
in-car cameras, and then I shall come back and disconnect
Disconnect your car.
and leave my car for another 2 weeks. But then, hang on, before I go, then let me just give you
Yeah.
this.
Oh, look at
That's
that.
the old one.
Oh,
And,
look at that. I hope that.
Southern Softers is out in March.
Oh, yeah, there we
March
go.
the 1st.
Look at that. It's nice up north. Except I can't do the accent very well.
It's nice up north. This is a little book
Oh,
of
look at
John's
that.
lyrics.
Oh, look at that.
Best-
Honed lyrics.
Honed lyrics.
Here we go.
All available on John's website.
There we go. Brilliant. I'll put the link up.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
best in the toilet.
Eggs and gammon. Oh, brilliant. I love it.
Easily amused.
It's such a good look.
Do you want me to sign it?
Well, except this one's been signed.
Oh God!
Look.
Oh no, it says to Susie. Keep up the guitar and keep honing those lyrics.
Yeah.
Love John Shutter, aka Dad. That's to my daughter, and she's giving it me back.
You can't give me that one.
Well, I can. I'll just
That's
tear
a
out that
special one.
page.
Oh no, that's a special one.
Um,
for her.
You're bloody right. I'll post you another one.
Yes, don't worry. Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
I just saw it and grabbed it.
That is absolutely perfect. That's my daughter's one. She's giving it back. That's brilliant, Aaron.
Yeah,
Thank you
nice-
so much.
nice to meet you.
Really good.
Yeah.
It is just so tiny, though, isn't it?
I remember the first time we went to see Red Dwarf. We talked to Peter about what we wanted from it, and I said, you know, we wanted it to be really huge and ungainly and kind
Right.
of like, you know, not a sleek
Yes.
Lake 70 kind of
Yeah.
zoomy ship. We wanted it to be a bulky monster. It was huge. It was like 8 feet.
Oh wow.
The guys who were doing it really loved it.
Right.
And they'd gone to all the detail when you went over it. All the little, they've got little Airfix kits and
Yeah.
ripped bits off and stuck it on, and they had a big asteroid implanted in the
Right,
side that
yeah.
had cranes on it because they were working on that. They'd been. The thing that astonished me was it was red.
Right.
And I thought, no, that doesn't look anything like a spaceship. It's red. I know it's called Red Dwarf, but we didn't think it was going to be red. And because it just didn't look. I wanted it to look, like gritty and alien-y, and but I kind of grew to love that.